They are doing it like rabbits. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We are only 3 episodes in, and I think we need to have a little heart-to-heart. Some fans were quick to take to the comments section, and boy were the reactions intense. Words like soft corn, emotionless, and no storyline started popping up, with some viewers accusing the series of focusing too much on steamy scenes and not enough on substance. What if I told you that beneath the surface there's a lot more going on? What feels cold, calculated, and transactional isn't a flaw, but it's an intentional commentary on power, identity, and even capitalism? We're talking about the first 3 episodes in The Heart Killers, so spoiler alert if you haven't watched them yet. Hey, it's me Blush, your friendly neighborhood BL analyst who can't stop diving into all the juicy layers of our favorite dramas, the industry, and everything in between. If you're like me and you've struggled with region lock stopping you from watching your favorite dramas, this is where NordVPN comes in. One click and you can unlock shows from across the globe. No more missing out because the streaming service said not available in your region. Not sponsored. I've been paying for this for years, plus it keeps your browsing safe and private, which is perfect for someone who, let's just say, watches more dramas than they'd like to admit. I'll leave the links down below. Also, there's a literal snowstorm outside, so if you hear any weird sounds, it's the blowing snow. I did not expect it to be so loud. The show has a lot going on. Power struggles, identity crisis, questionable romantic choices, you name it. But me being me, I couldn't help but notice all the sneaky capitalism satire woven into the story. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Welcome to the world of The Heart Killers, where capitalism is more than a backdrop, it's the heartbeat of every decision, every relationship, and every betrayal. Let's talk about the burger joint itself. For the brothers, the burger joint isn't just a cover for their assassin lives, it's a mask. It allows them to exist in plain sight, presenting a version of themselves that society finds acceptable, but the facade is fragile. One slip-up, like Bison's drunken karaoke night, forces them to pack up and move. This constant need to maintain appearances reflects the way capitalism forces people to curate their lives, always smiling, always performing, while hiding the chaos underneath. Much like corporations projecting an image of responsibility while cutting corners behind closed doors, the brothers' burger joint is a shiny mask concealing a much darker reality. The burger joint itself isn't just a nod to fast food, it's a symbol of globalization. It's an American-style restaurant plopped into a Thai neighborhood, highlighting the cultural clash between local identity and global consumerism. Fast food is often celebrated for its consistency and reliability, but it also represents the homogenization of culture. In the same way, the brothers use the restaurant to blend in, presenting a uniform, marketable image that hides their true selves. Style even asked Fidel why he didn't opt for something like local food, hot pot, or dumplings, as they're the trends. I think the last thing Fidel wants is to be trending. Even the customers in the burger joint aren't just there for a quick meal, they're an audience for the brothers' performance. They come in accepting a simple transaction, money for food, comfort, and familiarity. But what they don't see is the chaos behind the counter, the secrets baked into every bite. This dynamic mirrors the way capitalism relies on performance. Businesses project an image of perfection, promising quality and care, but often hide the truth of how those promises are delivered. The customer satisfaction isn't based on the reality of the restaurant, but on the illusion the brothers create. Even our burnt burger plays a role here. In the scene where Bison burns a burger to a crisp, at first it seems like a throwaway moment, a bit of comedy to lighten the mood, but that burnt burger is more than just a failed meal. It's a symbol of the brothers' double lives, their fractured identities, and the illusions they project to survive. The burger, like the restaurant, promises something comforting and familiar, but when it's charred and ruined, it reveals the truth. What's presented on the surface doesn't match the reality beneath. Just as the brothers use the restaurant to mask their assassin identities, the burger becomes a metaphor for how capitalism hides its flaws behind shiny promises. In a way, the burnt burger speaks to all of us. It's the fast food that doesn't match the meal, the job that promises growth but delivers burnout, the polished facade that hides a messy reality. And for the brothers, it's a reminder that no mask, whether it's a burger joint or a smile, can stay perfect forever. The burger joint in The Heart Killers isn't just a setting, it's a character in its own right. Their personal lives are no different. Styles relentless pursuit of Fidel begins as a transaction. Kant's car in exchange for seduction. What starts as a comedic subplot becomes a biting commentary on how even our closest relationships can be influenced by material incentives. In The Heart Killers, capitalism is everywhere, at the grill, in friendships, and even in the characters' dreams of escape. It's a burger with a side of blood, a deliciously chaotic metaphor for a world where nothing truly is free. And then there's Bison, desperate to escape the assassin life, but trapped by Mother's refusal to let him go. He's done with the late nights, the bloodstains, and the whole assassin with a burger joint shtick. Mother's grip on the brothers is like that of a corporate overlord. She dangles the illusion of security, family, stability, and a sense of purpose, while refusing to give any real freedom. It's a classic golden handcuff situation. You're stuck in a role you hate because leaving feels even scarier than staying. In Bison's case, his plight isn't just about escaping his job, it's about escaping a system that keeps people tethered through fear, obligation, and just enough perks to keep you from running for the hills. Then we have Style. His pursuit of Fidel starts as a hilarious bargain. Seduce the guy, and Kant will hand over his prized vintage car. At first, it feels like a throwaway rom-com subplot, Style showing up everywhere Fidel goes, flirting shamelessly, and getting shut down with varying degrees of irritation. Their dynamic highlights how capitalism sneaks into even our most personal relationships. Style's loyalty isn't unconditional. It's bought with the promise of a material reward. It's the ultimate I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine situation, wrapped in a layer of absurd humor. And of course, we have Kant and Bison. Kant's mission to spy on Bison is more than a betrayal. It's a stark reminder of how survival often comes at the expense of morality. Forced into a role by Captain Chris, Kant's actions are driven by necessity, not choice. Chris's blackmail leaves Kant with no options. His freedom, future, and his brother's safety are at stake. Every interaction with Bison, every moment of intimacy, is a calculated move to protect himself. Kant's situation mirrors real-world struggles where people are forced to prioritize survival over personal values. Now to address the emotionless, intimate scenes. Sex as a transaction in capitalism. In The Heart Killers, intimacy isn't always about love or connection. It's about power, leverage, and sometimes sheer necessity. Just like money changes hands in a capitalist system, sex in this story becomes a currency of its own, a tool to gain trust, manipulate, or maintain control. Kant seduces Bison not because he's in love with him, but because it's a part of his mission. His charm, flirtation, and eventual physical connection are strategic moves to gain Bison's trust. Just as workers trade their labor for wages, Kant trades intimacy for information. The lack of emotional depth in these moments isn't a flaw, it's a reflection of how transactional their relationship is at its core. Even the most personal acts can become negotiations, stripped of emotion and reduced to their practical value. For Kant, intimacy is just another tool in his arsenal. In a capitalist world, power often dictates the flow of transactions. In The Heart Killers, this dynamic plays out in the bedroom as much as in the burger joint. Bison's confidence in exploring his preferences contrasts with Kant's hesitant compliance. Bison initiates these moments, but Kant pretends to enjoy them because it's what's required to maintain his cover. These scenes highlight the imbalance of power in their relationship. Bison feels in control, but Kant is manipulating the situation for his own ends. This mirrors how capitalism often creates unequal exchanges, where one party benefits while the other compromises. Under capitalism, people are often valued for what they can provide, rather than who they are. This dehumanizing aspect is reflected in the detached, emotionless nature of some of the sexual scenes of the show. Fans have criticized these scenes for feeling cold or forced, but that's precisely the point. Kant and Bison aren't connecting emotionally, they're using each other. Kant uses intimacy to gain information, while Bison uses it to assert control in a life where he often feels powerless. Just as workers are reduced to their productivity, intimacy here is reduced to its function. In capitalism, vulnerability is often exploited for gain, and The Heart Killers showcases this through its intimate scenes. Vulnerability isn't a sign of trust. It's a currency that characters trade to achieve their goals. Pretty wild, right? But here's the thing, capitalism isn't just shaping the world around these characters, it's also shaping the people themselves, because in The Heart Killers, it's not just about what you do, it's about who you have to become to survive. Oh, and speaking of survival, help this channel thrive by hitting that subscribe button. I try my best to make meaningful and analytical content, which does take days of research sometimes, so if you're enjoying the content, let's try to get these numbers closer together. I really appreciate all the support. Masks. Who are we without them? In The Heart Killers, masks just aren't metaphors, they're survival tools, whether it's the literal disguise of a burger joint or the emotional barriers the characters build. Everyone is performing a role. The show invites us to question, who are we when the roles we play begin to crumble? Let's take a look at our main characters and why a certain scene really fired up the fandom. For Fidel, the mask isn't just external, it's deeply ingrained into his identity. As the older brother, he's taken on the role of protector, the one who keeps their operation running smoothly. His stoic demeanor and rigid control are part of his mask, hiding the emotional toll of their double lives. Yet the show gives us fleeting glimpses of the vulnerability beneath his armor. At the end of episode 2, that had everyone talking, Fidel is alone at night, giving in to his physical desires. This moment is raw, unguarded, and deeply human. Fans have noted how this scene felt like some of the most authentic acting in the series, a stark contrast to the detached, calculated sex scenes. One fan said Jung's scene was great. Damn, that's how you do it. It's no accident this moment stands out because Fidel's mask is off. He's not performing for anyone, not maintaining control. He's simply himself, alone with his emotions and vulnerabilities. It's a reminder that beneath the stoic protector lies a deeply human struggle for freedom and authenticity. Kant's mask, however, is more deliberate and layered. Outwardly, he's the charming, confident playboy tattoo artist full of charisma. His Shakespearean tattoos, adorned with poetic quotes, scream, "Trust me, I'm deep." They make him seem cultured and introspective, someone with profound emotions lurking beneath the surface. But like everything else about Kant, the tattoos are just another mask, a distraction from his real motive. They draw attention to his supposed death while concealing his manipulative, calculated actions. Every flirtation and every moment of intimacy with Bison is part of the performance, a move to gain trust and fulfill his mission. The deeper Kant dives into the double life, the harder it becomes to tell where his mask ends and his true self begins. One viewer said, "At least the last episode I felt like he liked Bison. This episode felt like all he was doing was trying to finish the mission and get in the house." Kant's mask is so deeply tied to his survival that the line between his performance and his true self becomes increasingly blurred. The deeper he dives into his double life, the harder it becomes to tell where his mask ends and his authenticity begins. Styles' mask is perhaps the most deceptive because it's disguised as openness. His loud, carefree antics and relentless pursuit of Fidel make him appear unserious, but his playful exterior hides his own insecurities and emotional complexity. His persistence with Fidel isn't just about winning a bet, it's a way to challenge Fidel's stoic mask and force him to confront emotions he's spent years suppressing. Their dynamic becomes a battle of masks, with Styles' chaotic energy chipping away at Fidel's carefully constructed control. However, Styles' approach isn't without controversy. Many fans reacted strongly to the forced kiss scene between Fidel and Style, with one saying, "Unfortunately, I strongly dislike the Fidel-style kiss. It made me feel uncomfortable. It was kinda harassment." This moment reveals Styles' mask of confidence cracking as he grapples with his own insecurities and need for validation, even at the cost of crossing boundaries. Bison's mask is one of control, a desperate attempt to assert authority in a life where he often feels powerless. As the younger brother, he's constantly under Fidel's shadow. His mask is constructed through his actions, his demeanor, and most notably, his approach to intimacy. Fans have mixed reactions to Bison's interactions, especially with Kant. One commented, "Kant Bison's play left me cold." This coldness isn't a failure of storytelling, but a deliberate choice. Bison's approach to intimacy is less about connection and more about control. He uses it as a way to reclaim power in a life dictated by the orders of others, such as Fidel or Mother. However, Bison's mask cracks in unexpected ways, such as during his drunken karaoke night. What initially seems like a moment of levity spirals into a dangerous slip-up that forces the brothers to pack up and move yet again. This incident isn't just a comedic interlude, it's a glaring reminder of how fragile Bison's control truly is. Karaoke incident highlights this duality. Bison's desire to feel free, if only for a moment, clashes with the rigid mask he must wear to survive. The detached, emotionless intimacy in the show also ties into the theme of identity. These scenes aren't about connection. They're about maintaining facades and fulfilling roles. They're not failures of storytelling, they're reflections of characters who have forgotten how to be authentic because their survival depends on pretending. The show asks a haunting question. When the masks crack and the roles dissolve, is there anything real left underneath? So, what do you think? Sure, the Heart Killers might have had its fair share of spicy scenes and over-the-top moments, but when you peel back the layers, there's so much more going on beneath the surface. From its critique of capitalism to its exploration of identity and the masks we all wear, this show dares to dive into themes that hit way closer to home than we might expect. And here's the best part, we're still in the early stages of the series. I can't wait to see how it all unfolds, and honestly, I'm bracing myself for even more twists, turns, and hidden depths. There's so much to unpack that this video could have easily been hours long, but that's where you guys come in. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments. What themes stood out to you? What moments left you shook or maybe even scratching your head? I'd love to hear all of your thoughts. See you in the next one!